In the wake of former USC gynecologist George Tyndall, the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights is holding a campus forum here tonight at Taper Hall. We'll have reactions as USC tries to move on.
Hurricane Michael hits land in Florida. We spoke to local students about what it's like there on the ground.
Plus, there are concerns about fire safety in homeless camps, especially as temperatures drop and the homeless try to stay warm.
Annenberg TV News, it's next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
The U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights is on campus tonight. Good evening, I'm Taylor Elliott.
And I'm Colin Taylor. The office is investigating USC's response to reports of sexual misconduct by a school gynecologist. Annenberg Media's Keith DeMolder is live at Taper Hall for the forum. Keith?
Thanks so much, Colin. I'm here from the Taper Hall of Humanities. Interestingly enough, on room 201 on the second floor, the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights are having a campus forum right now. Students are invited. Faculty is invited. The office, interestingly enough, announced earlier this year that they are investigating USC for any potential wrongdoing in the case of George Tyndall. They're trying to see if USC properly or improperly handled those cases. I actually spoke with a USC student earlier about how important it is for USC to make sure that a case like Tyndall never happens again.
They've clearly shown that keeping students safe hasn't always been a priority and transparency hasn't always been a priority. So moving forward, to get the students' trust back and to make sure that students are always safe on their campus, they have to make some serious changes.
So Colin and Taylor, the OCR, they're investigating USC's response, as I mentioned, claims that go as far back as 1990 with George Tyndall. Betsy DeVos, interestingly enough, said in a recent press release, no student should ever endure sexual harassment or abuse while trying to pursue their education. So clearly this is a hot button issue. Campus forum tonight, though, only 6 or 7 students attending, so maybe they didn't spread the word out. Either way, that is the latest here from Taper Hall. Keith DeMolder for Annenberg Media. Let's send it back to the studio.
Since the investigation was opened by the Office for Civil Rights, the university agreed to collaborate and provide any information connected to the review. Last spring, students alleged that at the Engelman's Health Center gynecologist George Tyndall had harassed or touched them inappropriately. In response, USC established the Office of Professionalism and Ethics to monitor all complaints and investigations. University Media Relations did not have any comments about tonight's forum. Some students see today's visit by the Office for Civil Rights as a way to fully understand what happened on campus.
I think I'm just kind of curious as to what has happened in terms of the investigation with the whole George Tyndall scandal, and how they are planning on kind of circulating any kind of reports on the investigation.
I think it's vitally important that people attend tonight's event. There's so much to learn, there's so much that we don't know with regards to this scandal, so having an open forum to discuss the topic is very helpful.
Tonight's forum is already underway, but students unable to attend are encouraged to reach out to the Office for Civil Rights with any concerns they have.
Hurricane Michael has become the most powerful hurricane to hit U.S. mainland in 50 years. Wind gusts are as high as 150 miles per hour, and late this afternoon we learned that at least one person was killed by a falling tree. Michael hit Florida's panhandle this afternoon at nearly Category 5 strength. Now at Category 1, the storm continues toward Georgia and Alabama, uprooting trees and ripping buildings apart. 375,000 Gulf Coast residents have been evacuated, while about 200,000 homes have lost their power. Here with me is our weather anchor, Sammy Monahan, to talk about the path of the storm.
Thanks, Colin. Michael made landfall earlier today near Panama City. Residents had minimal time to evacuate after warm waters in the Gulf caused the hurricane to rapidly increase to a Category 4 early this morning. The storm's wind speeds have begun to decrease as it travels inspeed fairly rapidly, but they aren't expected to reach tropical storm levels until early tomorrow morning or a little later tonight, while over Georgia. Michael is then expected to move through the North and South Carolina, bringing more floodwater to areas still in recovery after Florence.
As the storm reaches schools, Florida students told Annenberg Media how they have been affected.
though it's fine outside, no one knew exactly what was going to happen. So it was kind of like mass hysteria in the grocery stores, clearing the shelves for like batteries and water.
Classes where they're like very like lecture heavy, like they're going to be, their work's going to be pushed back a lot.
It was enough for my job to cancel, and I work at an ice cream place. It was enough for my other job at the airport to cancel all the flights and close the airport. And it was enough for all the schools in my county, including all the universities, to cancel class.
USC sophomore Diana LaFollette is from Dustin, Florida, one of the hardest hit areas. She shared her concerns for her parents.
It's really stressful because my dad says it's a lot calmer at home than the news is making it out to be, but I'm watching the Weather Channel and like getting CNN alerts on my phone, and they're like, biggest hurricane to hit the Panhandle in decades, and I'm like, but like.
This video was taken by Diana's father this morning. As you can see, there's plenty of wind, but thankfully everything seems to be intact. With Trojan Family Weekend approaching, students with relatives visiting from affected areas are definitely going to have a harder time getting over here.
That's right. Most airlines have canceled or delayed flights. There have been at least 62 flights that have been canceled from Pensacola and Tallahassee airports, and both have been shut down temporarily. With the storm likely to continue through the night, it's still too early to know the full extent of the damages.
When temperatures cool down, many people living on the streets look for ways to stay warm. According to data from the LA Fire Department, nearly 800 fires were linked to homeless encampments last year. This fire broke out in Koreatown Friday night on the corner of Hoover and Wilshire. The tent and surrounding belongings were destroyed. No deaths or injuries were reported. Dozens of tents line the entire block and crowd the sidewalk. A homeless neighbor says it's unclear how the fire started.
You don't know what's really happened because you went down there, but I know I don't see no one. I see the person that was living down there. I don't see him no more. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, they hide, and whatever they did, they hid it. That means that whatever happened, we would never know.
There are currently 23,000 unsheltered homeless people in the city of Los Angeles. Firefighters say these kinds of fires usually start from people trying to stay warm or cooking in their tents.
Very common. We do this quite often around here. Oh. There's a lot of homeless, obviously, around here. I mean, they're trying to stay warm, or they're trying to cook a meal.
Last year, a homeless encampment fire in Bel Air swept through the hills, destroying 6 homes and more than 400 acres.
DPS reports show Homeland Security officers arrested a USC undergraduate student for possession of a package containing fake IDs. According to the DPS report, 10 IDs were confiscated from the student's package. Other students say they're concerned about who's opening their mail.
If I'm getting a package delivered to my own home, I'm not getting it checked by someone like perhaps my parents, but like I'm not their parents, so.
If there's something in my mail that I was specifically just for me and I don't want other people to see or look at, I'm not the first person to get that, and I'm not afforded that privacy.
According to school safety officials, there's been an 800% rise in fake ID citations since the opening of the USC Village. With the voter registration deadline approaching, celebrities are using their platform to encourage fans to register to vote. Reporter Gavi Ganta has more on the political push at last night's American Music Awards.
Fans weren't ready for it when Taylor Swift dominated the 2018 American Music Awards last night. But while most celebs thanked mom and dad, Swift used her speech for political activism.
This award and every single award given out tonight were voted on by the people, and you know what else is voted on by the people?
This came after her Instagram post on Sunday that encouraged followers to get educated and get to the polls, receiving over 2 million likes.
It's kind of important to have celebrities put it out there to vote. It's kind of the only way to reach our generation nowadays. Not a lot of our people follow politicians, but they do follow celebrities on social media.
USC has seen its own spike in voter registrations this year, and Alec Vanderberg of Vote SC thinks celebrity endorsement has helped the on-campus registration efforts.
Hopefully if we have enough celebrities, there's enough of a movement where everyone realizes that it's actually cool to vote.
National Voter Registration Day brought in many more students than 2 years ago, and Vote SC is expecting even more to come in before October 22nd. There's still 11 more days to register before the California deadline. You can go to vote.org where you can sign up, check your registration status, and find your polling place. Although Vanderburg thinks it's valuable to listen to your favorite celebrities, he urges voters to do their own research.
If someone tells you to vote for someone or vote some way on something, don't just take their word at it.
More information about candidates and props can be found at California's online voter guide. I'm Gabby Gonta, USC Annenberg Media.
There's been bad news for tech companies recently. Tech stocks took hits today in the NASDAQ, and blunders by big tech companies like Google and Facebook have users concerned about cybersecurity. Annenberg Media's Joe Calabrese has more now in the Media Center.
Thanks, Taylor. Both the Dow and NASDAQ suffered their worst losses in months today. This is after Google announced this week it will be shutting down Google Plus after finding at least 500,000 user profiles were vulnerable, and just a few weeks after Facebook logged users out to correct for a massive data breach. This year alone, a number of companies have had user data compromised. Back in February, the Sacramento Bee had both subscriber and voter registration information stolen from a third-party server. In March, Under Armour announced 150 million MyFitnessPal users had their data stolen as well. 2 months ago, Reddit posted about a hacker who accessed user information. The best way to protect yourself online is to limit the information you share. But the Federal Trade Commission also recommends using strong passwords, and when getting rid of a computer, make sure to erase all its data. Back to you, Taylor and Colin.
LA Unified School District hosted its Walk to School Day this morning, but events were interrupted by some unexpected guests.
Plus, we have USC singer Kyle Tolbert live in the studio to talk about tonight's big performance.
And we've got an interview with a freshman sensation, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's coming up in sports.
We do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 5 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Got a quarter? Today's International Walk to School Day became a platform for frustrated LA teachers. Trevor Sahaki shows us what happened when they expressed their opinions to school officials.
The United Teachers Los Angeles today interrupted LA Unified School District's Walk to School Day. This protest comes after stalled contract negotiations between UTLA and the district. LA Unified believes both groups need to work together for a larger goal.
We agree we don't have adequacy and equity in California and therefore not in LA Unified, but we also agree that together we are stronger, we agree that our kids matter, and we agree that all the adults can work together to ensure that the new administration in Sacramento hears us.
In a press release last month, the teachers union said LA Unified's, quote, deliberate understatement of available money underscores the district's credibility problems as Superintendent Austin Buettner refuses to act in good faith and participate in mediation.
Now today's walk started right down there just by the football field, but as the students came up here, they encountered some teachers picketing against the LAUSD administration.
The teachers want more funding, better wages, and oversight of charter schools. The union authorized a strike for 30,000 members just over a month ago. Such action could impact more than 600,000 students. While Superintendent Austin Buettner's office was unavailable to comment today, he wrote an op-ed in the LA Times a few weeks ago saying, instead of LA Unified and UTLA fighting each other, we should start working to increase the funding for public education. If the differences are not resolved, it could be teachers walking out of schools instead of students walking in. For Annenberg Media, I'm Trevor Sahaki.
Well, it's been cooling down a little bit here in LA.
Let's toss it to Sammy with the weather.
That's right, we're finally getting a little bit of what we could call LA fog. Today, it's LA fall. Today, it's been a little bit cloudy throughout most of the day at a nice comfortable 70 degrees. And looking on into tomorrow, we're seeing a lot of the same. Looking at the inland area, we have Big Bear 55, Palm Springs 83, but San Bernardino and Riverside are keeping it consistent within the 70s, much like with the rest of our map. Looking at over by the coastline, we have Malibu 67, Thousand Oaks, Northridge in the 70s. So once again, fairly consistent in that midline temperature. And when we take a look at what USC is at, our temperature is 69. The rest of the USC area is, again, high 60s, low 70s, so cooling down a little bit, but not too much. It's still fairly comfortable. Taking a look at the rest of the week, we have a chance of showers a couple times throughout this week, primarily tomorrow and on Saturday. But still, the temperature isn't going to drop that cold, only going to 64 on Saturday, and the showers are only sort of a possibility.
Well, I really hope that it doesn't rain this weekend for Parents' Weekend, especially since we had a bye week last week.
Honestly, that would be the worst.
I don't know. I bet with the way my luck is, my dad's going to bring the rain right on in from Seattle.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Well, tonight USC students will be showcasing their musical chops at Tommy's Place.
Buzz reporter Brogan Craner is sitting down with one of tonight's popular music first-year performers.
Thank you very much, Colin and Taylor. Tonight, about 30 popular music students will take the stage at Tommy's Place. Singer Kyle Tolbert is one of those performers, and before he joins us, let's take a quick look at his music.
It's like this, we fight like this, the years keep moving fast. And it's nights like this, my life's like this, nothing ever lasts. So we think about days gone.
Now, that is a beautiful song, and the man behind that beautiful song, Mr. Kyle Tolbert, is joining me right now. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I already gave a brief synopsis on kind of what's going on tonight, but tell me what's happening.
Okay, so this is our freshman pop performance class midterm, and what that is, we're all putting, all the performance students in Thornton, we're putting the bands, and it's 5 different bands, and throughout this whole semester, we've been working on music around 3 songs a week. We get assigned, we're expected to learn those songs, we're expected to get on rehearsals together, and tonight is a compilation of what our teachers and professors thought were the best of what we've been working on this quarter. So, yeah.
Very nice. And it's important to mention that it really is student run. You guys are leading the production. You are coming up with the performances. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's very much finding out how you work with a group of people, and we're responsible for scheduling our own rehearsals. We're responsible for learning the music. We meet every Tuesday with our professors, and we perform for them in class, and then they give us critiques, kind of just like keeping us in check, making sure we're doing and learning the right things.
That is so interesting. So as a student-run production, what does it take to go into a night like this and to really like perfect a rehearsal like tonight?
Yeah, we have a lot of people behind the scenes helping us, like the mixers, the audio, the lights, but just knowing your part, coming to it, being prepared, which is what we've been doing for like these past week and a half, this past 2 weeks, week and a half. But yeah, we've been really harping on this midterm, so we're really excited to show everybody tonight.
Yeah, so I understand that you guys will be performing classic songs from the 1970s, the 1950s. Kind of what are you performing?
I'm going to be singing "Stand By Me," and the other singer in my band, she'll be singing like "Rockin' Robin." There'll be like other songs like Bo Diddley, Hound Dog by Big Mama Thornton, if you've ever heard that one.
Very nice.
They're really strong in emphasizing like how well are we sticking to the originals, sticking to the recording. They really want us to embody and internalize and emulate what those original pop songs were about.
Very cool. Well, I'll be definitely checking it out. It sounds very interesting. And you guys can also see Kyle and the rest of the popular music first year students when they perform at Tommy's Place tonight starting at 8 p.m. Colin and Taylor, back to you.
Thanks, Brogan. Let's toss it to our sports anchor, Angel Viscara.
All right, thank you very much, folks. Well, it's bounce back week for the now number 3 ranked USC men's water polo team after they lost their first match of the season this past weekend. And rejoice, USC fans, the bye week has passed by and the Trojans are now gearing up for a big Pac-12 matchup with Colorado this weekend. And sticking with pigskin chatter, sports correspondent Cecil Hannibal had the chance to sit down with one of the leading stars for the USC football team. More on that after the break.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listened.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
And welcome back to ATVN. This weekend, the USC football team will be doing battle with the 5-0, number 19 ranked Colorado Buffaloes at the LA Memorial Coliseum. And saying this game is huge for USC's efforts in the Pac-12 standings is an understatement. Whichever team escapes with the victory on Saturday will take the lead in the Pac-12 South, but USC coach Clay Helton knows that Colorado is going to bring it this Saturday, especially offensively.
And really a balanced offense between the quarterback who can create and throw, a talented receiving core, and a bruising running game. It's one of the reasons they're putting up 39 points a game.
The Trojans will look to extend their current winning streak to 3 games this weekend against the Buffaloes. Historically, Colorado has never beaten USC in 12 total games against one another. USC will ride its 18-game home winning streak, the second longest in the nation, into the Coliseum this Saturday during what will be Parents' Weekend for USC fans. But now, for another look at this Trojan football team, let's toss things on over to Cecil Hannibal, who had himself a big yes earlier today. Cecil?
Amon-Ra St. Brown was highly recruited out of high school. The star wideout had offers from Bama, Georgia, and even UCLA. Earlier today, I had the chance to sit down with St. Brown and talk about his football family and why he chose to be a Trojan. I want to ask you first, why USC?
I was choosing between 3 great colleges. I was choosing between Stanford, Notre Dame, and USC. And I have 2 brothers, obviously. One went to Notre Dame, and one goes to Stanford right now. So it was tough choosing between the three colleges, but I mean, I don't think I could have gone wrong with either choice, but I think it came down to what felt home to me. I mean, I love Coach Helton. I think he's one of my favorite coaches that I've ever been around.
So like you said, both your brothers play Division I football, right? What advice have they given you about playing at the next level?
I mean, Osiris, this is his first year playing at Stanford. He got hurt last year. And then Equanimus, what he really told me is it's the same thing. I mean, football is football. You have routes, you catch the football, you run the ball. The only thing that really changes is the speed of the game. It gets a little faster.
So I want to ask you, what makes Amon-Ra St. Brown so dangerous on the field, and why should DBs in the Pac-12 be afraid?
I mean, I'm a really competitive guy. I hate losing, so just that alone is gonna make it tough, I think, for another DB. Because if I lose on one route, I'm gonna come back the next play and try to win no matter what.
Guys, get this. Amon is half German, and he's fluent in both German and French. I tried to get him to say fight on in German, but he said it's not possible. So I guess I'll keep fighting on in English. And if you want to check out the rest of the Amon-Ra interview, you can watch it on Facebook at Annenberg Media Sports. Back to you in the studio.
That is some awesome stuff, Cecil. Thank you for that. Well, the USC men's water polo team entered this past weekend as the top-ranked undefeated team in the NCAA. But perfection ultimately came to an end as the Trojans fell to Stanford last Saturday, 13-11. But no time for moping for this USC team, according to junior Marin Dasic. they need to learn from the past and move forward in a strong way.
Defense was a little bit off, but I think we have to learn from our mistakes. And next game, we just have to do a much better job, be more focused, and I think it's going to be a much better outcome.
USC will take to the road this weekend to take part in the Mountain Pacific Invitational in Palo Alto. The team's first match is scheduled for Friday against Air Force. And the number 2 ranked USC women's soccer team is coming off of an impressive 3-1 victory over Arizona State, and they play Washington State this Saturday. Coach Kaidani McAlpine knows a challenge awaits.
I think Washington State unfortunately took 2 losses on the weekend, so for them, they're trying to return to form at home, which they're very, very good at home. Most of their wins this year are at home. And they're a great counterattacking team. 2 really good goal scorers.
After traveling to Pullman this weekend to play the Cougars, the Trojans will come back with only 5 matches remaining in regular season play, so postseason is just around the corner for them. Excited to have football back. We'll keep things going forward in this broadcast.
Of course. Thank you, Angel. Coming up, a furry friend is booted off a flight in Florida.
Find out why next.
Hey guys, Danny Trejo here. There was going to be a whole song and dance routine about how you should wait your turn to enter the train. But they got me, Danny Trejo, to talk to you instead. Look, when you don't wait your turn to enter the train, it's rude and potentially dangerous. And believe me, I know a thing or two about rude and dangerous. I'm Danny Trejo. Don't be like rude, dude. Be kind, like super kind. Excuse me.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
A flight grounded this week after a woman brought her emotional support squirrel on a plane. Frontier's policy only allows cats and dogs for emotional support. The woman is now speaking with an attorney and says she's, quote, going for blood to defend her furry friend Daisy the squirrel. Well, thanks for watching Annenberg TV News from everyone at Annenberg Media. I'm Colin Taylor.
And I'm Taylor Elliott. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.